Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for March 18, 2024. And in the news this afternoon, legal representation settled for Danielle Rowe's alleged killer. Coyote Seychelle, the dental assistant who is charged with the abduction and the murder of 80-year-old Danielle Rowe, has been remanded in custody until April 11. Presiding Judge Justice Leighton Pusey settled the matter of the accused woman's legal representation when the case was mentioned in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Thursday. Attorney Patrick Peterkin has agreed to take charge of Seychelle's defense team in the case as it further progresses in court. Consequently, she was remanded until next month. Seychelle has been in custody for nearly 7 months. She is said to have been identified as the woman who allegedly abducted Danielle from her school in Portmore, St. Catherine on June 8, 2023, before the child's throat was slashed in the corporate area the same day, resulting in her death in hospital 2 days later. The police said Seychelle was an intimate partner of the now deceased child's father, who is a serving member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The accused woman was picked up in the corporate area on Friday, August 11, 2023, giving the police a much-needed breakthrough following public criticisms relative to the perceived lack of arrest of any suspects in the case. Due to concerns about her safety in light of the public outrage relative to the schoolgirl's brutal murder, she was denied bail in October of last year. 4 months for farmer who demanded sex from woman at a gunpoint. Kevin Lewis, the St. Elizabeth farmer who pulled a firearm and demanded sexual favors from a woman 2 years ago, was on Friday sentenced to 4 months in prison for the offenses. Lewis, alias Cruz, a 31-year-old farmer of Slipe district in the parish, was convicted earlier this month when he appeared in the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court. When he appeared for his sentencing hearing on Friday, Chief Justice Brent Sykes sentenced him to 4 months in prison for the gun charge and also 4 months for assault. The sentences are to run concurrently. Reports are that about 8:30 p.m. on February 25, 2022, Lewis was asked by the then 36-year-old woman to transport her to a round-robin entertainment event in the parish. While on their way to the event, Lewis allegedly pulled a firearm and demanded sexual favors from the woman, who resisted his efforts. Seemingly infuriated by the response, Lewis discharged a round from the firearm and then proceeded to transport the woman to the event. A report was subsequently filed at the Black River Police Station and a probe was launched. Lewis was later handed over to the police by his mother and was charged after he was questioned by police investigators. Outgoing Commissioner feels a sense of accomplishment. Outgoing Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson says he feels a sense of accomplishment as he leaves the Jamaica Constabulary Force today, describing his tour of duty as a leg of a relay that he has completed. "We have a number of things lined up that my successor will do and will continue. When you embark upon these journeys, and initially it's a big jump, you have to move things in a significant way and get things moving. There is still a lot of work to be done, but because you start something does not mean that you will finish it. What you need is a relay of persons to change the baton," he said. Anderson, who hands over the reins to Dr. Kevin Blake during a change of command ceremony on Sunday afternoon, emphasized that no one will start and finish everything within the JCF, but the leaders must rely on the fact that they have created new leaders to continue the process. He made the comments in an interview with the news while in Hopewell, Hanover, to officially open the new Hopewell police station. When asked if he feels a sense of accomplishment as his tour of duty with the JCF draws to a close, his prompt response was, "I do," and one of the senses of accomplishment was that the Police Service Commission did not feel the need to look outside of the JCF to find the leaders. Said Anderson, "We had credible people who were part of the process and could have been Commissioner of Police. In the end, they decided that it would be Dr. Kevin Blake." He went on to describe Blake as a heavy lifter in terms of the transformation process within the JCF, which will be the benefit of the public. Turning his attention to the new police station, Anderson noted that the final product of the new facility easily met his expectations. This was originally going to be just a small post for we had a challenge here in the Hopewell area, but clearly the community was deserving of more than that, and the level of development that's taking place around here, we had to do more than a post, and we created a full station here, he stated. The Hopewell Police Station has come about through a collaborative agreement between the Hanover Municipal Corporation and the Jamaica Constabulary Force within the HMC has leased for a period of 50 years one of its property holdings in Pontepeace, Hopewell, at a rate of $1,000 per year. The building on the property was refurbished by officers of the JCF's Property Management and Maintenance Division at a cost of approximately $25 million. Anderson pointed out that a full suite of police services will be provided at the new facility, which he describes as a smart station because of it being equipped with the latest in JCF technologies. This is the first station that has started out as a digital smart station, he pointed out. When questioned about his feelings about his tour of duty within the JCF over the last 6 years, Anderson argued that it was his belief that he managed to take the JCF some distance down the road on the process of transformation. DPP says a campaign of misinformation aimed at intimidating her office after cartel ruling. Jamaica's chief prosecutor, Paula Llewellyn King's Counsel, has moved to clarify her actions before the decision made by then Supreme Court Justice Lennox Campbell during the 2014 murder trial of entertainer Vybz Cartel and his co-accused to continue the matter after he became aware of an attempt to bribe the 12-member jury to acquit the men. While noting that the matter is still under judicial consideration, Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn said she felt compelled to speak on that narrow issue in light of what she labeled a campaign of misinformation being spread by certain counsel, which she believes amounted to an attempt to bring her office into disrepute. I think it is a veiled attempt to intimidate the office of the DPP and myself from doing our professional duty in respect of properly preparing ourselves to make submissions to the Court of Appeal in this matter, as we are bound to do consequent on the ruling of the Privy Council in this matter, the DPP told the news on Sunday. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council last Thursday quashed the murder convictions of Adidja Vybz Cartel Palmer and his co-accused Sean Storm Campbell, Kahira Jones and Andre St. John for the 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams and remitted the question of whether there should be a retrial to Jamaica's appeal court. The law lords in their ruling said the decision by the original trial judge to continue the murder trial after the attempted bribe of the jury had been brought to his attention gave rise to a miscarriage of justice. Lord Lloyd Jones, in delivering the ruling, said the board was of the view that the tainted juror should not have been kept on the jury. There was a need to isolate the other members of the jury from the source of contamination. In the board's view, allowing juror X to continue to serve on the jury is fatal to the safety of the convictions which followed. This was an infringement of the defendant's fundamental right to a fair hearing by an independent and impartial court in accordance with Section 16 of Chapter 3 of the Jamaican Constitution, he stated. Commenting further on the issue, Lord Lloyd Jones said while the board is mindful of the very serious consequences which may flow from having to discharge a jury shortly before the end of a long and complex criminal trial, it is also very conscious of the danger of deliberate attempts to derail criminal trials, in particular in their closing stages, by engineering situations in which it becomes necessary to discharge the jury. On Sunday, Llewellyn said, contrary to the picture being painted, that she had full sway in the matter. The opinion she rendered to the judge was at his invitation, a situation which she said is not novel, as the judges from time to time in the course of matters requested the opinion of the head of the ODPP, even though she might not be the one handling the particular case. I have been made to understand that they have been saying that I somehow breached the Constitution by indicating that we didn't have a problem with the matter going ahead after it was brought to the judge's attention that there was this tainted juror. There are 50-odd lawyers who operate on behalf of the DPP, but under the Constitution, the DPP is able to step into a case at any time in the interest of justice, and neither the prosecutor, who was there before, the judge nor defense counsel can prevent that, It is a constitutional power, Llewellyn pointed out. An opinion was canvassed from everybody, defense and the prosecuting counsel, but the judge, who is a supreme in the law, was the one who made the decision, weighing all the different factors, because he too would have been aware that previously a juror had to be discharged because she was put in a situation where it was quite clear she would not have been able to continue, the DPP said. She said up until the day in question, when the judge requested that she appear in chambers along with the defense team and her team of prosecutors, Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Jeremy Taylor, and the then Crown Counsel, Leighton Morris, she would speak to the prosecutors every day and assist administratively or otherwise to prepare for the challenges they would face from day to day. Every now and again, I would pop into court for a few minutes to build up morale because the case was very stressful, not only for the prosecutors, but the police and the entire office, for reasons I would not go into, Llewellyn stated. On the day Justice Campbell summoned her, she said after hearing from the judge and the foreman, who were called and questioned, the two teams of attorneys were asked to say what their opinions were. The attorneys for the defense were saying they didn't think the matter should go on. I indicated we wouldn't have a difficulty with the matter proceeding. We were saying 60 odd days have passed and it was a very serious matter, and the judge could always issue further and detailed instructions to the jury in addition to the general instructions. He really wanted an opinion from us, and I indicated that we would not have a problem with him proceeding and that any risk for a decision coming down that would be adverse to us, we are the ones who would handle that risk, Llewellyn said. According to the DPP, the issue at hand was of sufficient importance for the judge to request the conference of attorneys. There was another issue with the same juror who offered the bribe, who somehow found himself at the chambers of one of the attorneys in the case, and the attorney came and reported it to the court, and then you had this attempt to bribe. What is the likelihood of having 3 issues to do with a jury in one case of this nature? I have never seen it happen, and I expect the judge, with all his experience, had never seen it either, which is why he had to have an inquiry in an abundance of caution. I think he thought it would be the best thing, she said. He could either have said to the attorneys from my chambers, consult with the director and to tell me what her opinion is, but in light of the peculiar nature of this matter, he thought it better to send for me so I could hear exactly what the foreman had to say, the DPP said further. Added Llewellyn, it is unfortunate that counsel has sought to spread misinformation and seek to be mischievous and foment misunderstanding on this area, and I can only hope it is not in an effort to intimidate me or my office. They must be so careful that in being so irresponsible and spreading this sort of misinformation, that it does not act as an adverse factor which undermines our security at the office of the DPP. We are career prosecutors and we have no vested interest in any case. In April 2014, Cartel was sentenced to life in prison with the eligibility of parole after serving 35 years of his sentence. His co-accused were also handed life sentences, with Sean Storm and Jones being eligible for parole after serving 25 years, and St. John being eligible after serving 15 years. In April 2020, following an appeal, the men's parole times were reduced by 2.5 years each. In September that same year, the men were granted conditional leave to challenge their murder convictions before the Privy Council.